Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah, coming to you guys from California. Give all praise to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives us more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. We're going to be doing a call-in show right after I post this video. So as soon as you listen to the video right now, if you want to do participate in a call-in show, go ahead and call in right now. Probably gonna try to do a call-in show for about an hour. We'll see how it goes with the calls and everything, but I'll try to go for about an hour. So if you're interested, go back to the links that we have already in the past there. Scroll back, go to Google Duo, tribeofjudah0@gmail.com, and just kind of maybe space out your calls some, and so we can go ahead and get as many calls in as possible and share with the nation. Okay? So this video, though, is going to be talking about how we are connected. And not only we're connected with the things here on the earth, but how the things in space affect us as well. We've been going through this retrograde, and it's been one hell of a retrograde for me personally. Still dealing with physical issues right now. I'm praying that Most High restores me as this retrograde finishes. But even through the ailments, the Most High is teaching me things, showing me things that I didn't know before. I'm growing in the Most High and just learning to trust Him even more as we go through our trials and tribulations. And I'm sure that's true for all of us. Knowing that the Most High is working to improve us and, to have us to grow. We have to go through these kinds of things. So we understand that, these retrogrades have an effect here on the planet, have an effect on the people. We're going to be taking a look at this Old Farmer's Almanac, and there's a couple of really interesting passages here that really show you how we are connected with the moon, and how the moon and its waxing and waning affects us physically, affects the animals, affects the tides, affects the oceans. And you start to see how, the Most High has us also interconnected. So it's just amazing how, and it makes more sense as to why when we started to look at the stars and look at the planets and things like that, we were getting attacked. Oh, don't look at the stars. Don't look at this. Don't look at that. Well, because, the Most High has created everything. So we're all intricately connected. Our story is written in the stars. Our story is written in the skies. And they don't want us to realize, that the Most High put it all out there for us. Many things that our people used to do a long time ago. I did a video about the Druids and how they would, be looking at, when to do things, when not to do things for, I think, 60 plus months. They would have everything already mapped out. I'm sure based off of their observations of the stars. So it's pretty interesting to see, how these things are connected. So we're going to listen to a couple of passages and then go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about it. Okay? Here we go.
Have an eye to the moon. The moon, as everybody knows, was formerly thought to have a constant and powerful effect on men and things. This article of faith was universal, and there is no occasion to dwell upon its antiquity. It has left plain traces upon our language in mooncalf for monster, moonstruck, and mooning, as well as in lunatic. As Othello said, it is the very error of the moon. She comes more near the earth than she was wont, and makes men mad. Of the significance of the moon's place in medical treatment, enough has already been said in our chapter on the famous anatomy. That grotesque figure encircled by the signs of the zodiac, which was once regarded as indispensable in an almanac. In particular, the waxing and waning of the moon, connected as it is with the movements of the tides, was believed to exercise a sympathetic influence over all nature, animate and inanimate. Remnants of these fancies may even now be discovered in the folklore of New England. There are mothers who still prefer to cut their children's hair in the increase of the moon, that it may grow more luxuriantly, and some farmers must still follow the same rule in killing their pigs in order that the pork may swell rather than shrink in the barrel or the kettle.
So I kind of found that one part there about the lunatic, and I actually never really kind of made that connection about lunatic, how like the moon makes people crazy. We do understand though that people actually act a lot more. They act crazier when it's a full moon. But like I said, that just shows you how these planets and satellites have an effect on the people, have an effect, on the way we think and on our brains and things like that. And we're going to actually look at that again shortly in the next section. But it seemed as if, in the past, these things were well known. And of course, this is by design. Our Father designed everything just like this. This is the way He designed it. He designed us all be connected, everything to be connected, not just the people and the animals and the plants and everything here on the planet, but also we're connected with the planets. And we know certain events, are influenced by what happens in the stars. Let's continue.
In the 17th and 18th centuries, the influence of the moon on animal and vegetable life was not merely an article of faith among the ignorant. It was an accepted tenet of science, though there was some doubt as to the precise limits of this influence. Cotton Mather, perhaps, will hardly be allowed to qualify as an expert, though his reputation for exceptional credulity comes rather from him having put himself on record than from any peculiarity in his mental temper. But no one will deny that Robert Boyle, the founder of the Royal Society, the improver of the air pump, and the discoverer of Boyle's law of the elasticity of gases, was a genuinely scientific personage. Mather writes, one Abigail Elliot had an iron struck into her head, which drew out part of her brains with it. A silver plate she afterwards wore on her skull, where the orifice remained as big as a half crown. The brains left in the child's head would swell and swage according to the tides. Her intellectuals were not hurt by this disaster, and she lived to be a mother of several children. And Boyle records an odd observation about the influence of the moon in the following terms. I know an intelligent person that having, by a very dangerous fall, so broken his head that divers large pieces of his skull were taken out, as I could easily perceive by the wide scars that still remained, answered me that for divers months that he lay under the chirurgeon's hands, he constantly observed that about full moon there would be an extraordinary prickings and shootings in the wounded parts of his head, as if the meninges were stretched.
So again, you can see how the moon was affecting the brain. So kind of, explains how, people act crazy or think, when the moon is full. So I just found this very interesting how, these connections, are there. And then it's kind of like, you start seeing like how we're in certain times right now. You've seen how we're at the end, of an age right now, and how we moved into the time of Aquarius, and how we move through these constellations, and in the effect that they have on the people. As now we've moved into this new time I want to say, I think we're in Aquarius. Um, you see how all hell is breaking loose on the earth. How us moving through these constellations has an effect on the people. We see how these people, it affects their brains. So I'm sure as we move into these constellations, these planets are moving into different places and things like that. It's also having an effect on the people. Let's go and check out the next section.
Or pressed against the rugged parts of the broken skull, and this with so much pain as would for 2 or 3 nights hinder his sleep, of which at all other times of the moon he used to enjoy a competency. And this gentleman added that the chirurgeons, for he had 3 or 4 at once, observed from month to month, as well as he, the operation of the full moon upon his head, informing him that they then manifestly perceived an expansion or intumescence of his brain, which appeared not at all at the new moon, for that I particularly asked, nor was he then obnoxious to the aforementioned pricking pains.
So again, the moon and how it affects the brain. Now you just start to think about all this information is just been kind of displaced, discarded. People don't really think about it. But now it kind of understands why we do certain things when we're supposed to, do certain things. New moons, full moons, waxing and waning. Our people were in tune with all these kinds of things. They were given this information by the Most High. Most High downloaded all this information to Enoch, and Enoch passed it down to his people. So they had a much more unique understanding, a much better connection with nature. And then when you talk about the Druids and the priests and everything else, they were very much in tune with nature. That's why it seems as if our people were able to accomplish many things and do many things through nature, through our connection with the Most High and nature. And that the Gentiles, try to mimic many of the same things, but they try to do it through their technology. We know that we are waking up. We are getting more knowledge and understanding. We are learning to go back to the Father, learning to go back to the things that He created for us to connect with. This is how we're going to also grow, by remembering the things we had before, taking back this knowledge and understanding and applying it once again. So I just wanted to share. I thought this was very interesting, and to kind of think about how all the other planets and their movements actually affect the actions of the people here on the planet. We know that people are going crazy. I said many of our people, are going through things like these retrogrades, and we're being tested. Many of the other people, the other nations who maybe don't understand what's going on, they don't understand why the things that are happening on this planet, because they're not in tune with nature. They're not in tune with the Most High. The Most High is preparing us for the beautiful things that are to come. He's preparing us to be able to take our rightful positions here once again. All praise is to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.